afternoon, Internet. How are you all doing? I'm Ricardo, the Cynical Critic. This is RWBY Reviews, and boy, do we have an interesting episode today.
With you, it's always interesting. Oh, did I say interesting? I meant crappy.
Well, funnily enough, that's what many have been saying about this volume, and so far, they've been proven mostly wrong. Mostly. Because we're now 4 episodes from the end, and things seem to be going downhill now. Which proves once more, my fellow guys out there, it's how good your climax is that will stick with her.
I wrote those lines.
And I hope you're happy.
Hey, you said you needed some help with the script.
Anyways, guys, let's go over the recap so we can get into whatever this episode's about.
Well, previously, we got Crow and the Wizard talking about how things weren't looking good and that Leo was clearly up to something. And their suspicions are more or less confirmed when the headmaster informs them that he's got permission from Big Brother to finally go after the MILF and the Spring Babe. And to put it into Salem and evil, and then they can all live happily ever after with lollipops and sunshine. I swear. Just come over to the school and don't forget to leave your weapons behind because this is a gun-free zone. Oh, and if you can put on some blindfolds for a big surprise. Also, if you wouldn't mind getting drunk before getting here, that'd be great.
Thank you for the sarcasm. It was great.
Well, the latter shouldn't be hard for Crow, but it is nice of them to show us that it's clearly just a trap for Raven and Cinder's crew to take them out. Another trap that was sprung was the one against the Belladonnas, and that too was foiled before it even began. And what was also spoiled was the action scenes as Rooster Teeth proves once again that they were absolutely nothing before Monty came along, and now they're even less without him. However, we did get some good moments of emotions, mainly from our women, because what else are they good for? Am I right, ladies? But it all did lead to a wonderful speech from our favorite pussy. Lakana, that sounded dirty.
What? She's a cat.
Yeah, but knowing you, I'm sure you meant something different.
I did.
Anyways, the day is saved. Blake forgives Ilya, cause how else are we gonna keep giving people more characters to ship with her? The faunists rise up to defend Haven, and Sun gives the Bumblebeers another reason to hate him. Also, this all took place 2 weeks prior, which may make you wonder, along with so many others, why Rooster Teeth didn't just break up this in the past volume into 3 separate ones.
Oh well, we're given what we're given. Like a homeless man with a dead rat, we'll make do. So let's jump into the episode and see what the dynamic doofuses have in store for us. Lakana, roll the clip.
Yes, we're back to the show, and yes, we're gonna watch the intro. Skip this. Nice try, Lakana. And we're back, where a bruised almighty moon illuminates the courtyard of Haven. Our band of protagonists walk to the school where Leo greets them in such an evil fashion. I'm surprised he isn't stroking a cat.
But Blake's not there. Oh, pun joke. Very clever.
There seems to be more of you than last time.
You know what they say, the more the merrier.
Roll credits. For those who don't know, that's the title of the episode. Oh, come on, my jokes are so bad, I can't ruin them any further.
As Leo continues to blow it, Yang notices a familiar beak.
Mom? If you're going to shoot me, shoot me. That was insulting.
Well, at the moment he does have about 8 bottles in him, so he's not exactly on top of his game. Though surprised at her appearance, Crow and Ruby tried to convince Raven that if they work together, they can beat Salem. The Edgelord in turn reminds her little brother that he is still naive, thinking that that's possible. And speaking about naivete, Ruby then tries the whole,
I know there's good in you, and together we can win with the power of friendship.
You sound just like your mother.
You're all just gonna stand there? I think Raven made it very clear that this is the moment where you should be kicking ass.
Hello, boys and girls. Cinder.
How's your face?
And the Furious Five aren't the only ones to arrive to the party, as from behind, in walks Hazel, informing the others that the White Fang are planning the explosives. We get to see just that, and thank God it doesn't last that long.
Still fucking suck at voice acting, Garrett.
And this coming from the half-Mexican who can't mimic a proper Mexican accent.
Back inside, Crow is annoyed that his twin has joined the enemy, but upon Cinder revealing it, becomes silently furious with Leonardo. Who wouldn't? The idiot's almost always shown as the most unlikable of the 4. Crow's anger builds as he now realizes that the headmaster sent so many huntsmen to their deaths, selling them out to Salem.
Oh, now, don't beat yourself up about it, Lionheart. I'm sure Tyrion and Hazel would have found them on their own eventually.
What is wrong with you?
John?
Nora's right, dude. That's kind of what they do, so I think you should chill out.
Oh, with that damn smile on your face! I'm gonna make you pay for what you did! Do you hear me?
Who are you again?
Oh, God. I'm sorry, but that's pretty freaking funny.
Sweetheart, I'm so sorry. It doesn't look like you're going to be avenged. You should have gone with someone not so pathetic.
Well, at that, Jean rushes in and is immediately over his head. The fight is then on as everyone is paired with an opponent.
Hey there, Blondie. I'm thinking you owe me an apology for my leg.
You're absolutely right. Yang, break the other one. Don't worry, we'll make sure it evens out this time.
Don't forget to crush his balls and rip off his Ricardo.
As Raven readies to take on her brother, she tells Vernal to not waste her powers with the heiress, which is where I think the two maidens should be wasting their powers. You aren't given the god mode in GTA to just stand around using your pistol. Jesus. Rooster Teeth certainly likes showing these all-powerful magical maidens as complete pushovers, don't they? Meanwhile, Oscar decides he's going to beat Leo to death, and in doing so, reveals to the headmaster that his fellow has returned in the body of a boy. I know, kind of creepy, but not as creepy as Leo thinking that he can sell the boy toy to Salem in exchange for freedom from all this.
And we all know just how kinky she can get.
What do I do? Fight?
No shit, Sherlock!
Well, the others don't seem to be doing all that well either, as Ruby is unable to help Jean with Emerald keeping her busy.
Protecting her senpai. Atta girl.
Heck, even the Ice Queen is having trouble, as Weiss isn't even able to summon her White Knight to defend her. Feminism, am I right? However, at the sound of his side chick in pain, the stalker falters, giving Cinder a moment to make fun of him again.
Stop messing with me!
If that's what you want.
However, it looks like the flashback phantom strikes again as Ruby goes supernova to defend. Oh shit. Oh, that was pathetic. Kind of like John as he goes in for the kill, but falls over when he misses.
Jesus, boy, you suck.
And I guess being forced to fight this weakling really pisses off Cinder, who tells him what we all know, that he's nothing more than a dumbass with a death wish.
If I die buying them time, then it's worth it. They're the ones that matter.
Thank you for painting a target on their backs, you moron!
God damn it, John, you fucking dumbass. Kill yourself.
And as you might expect, Cinder goes for Weiss and holy shit! God damn, that's brutal.
Oh no! Weiss is dead? Tell me it's not so! How could this have happened? Yeah, no one's falling for that, Rooster Teeth, but thank you for trying. I'm sure there's a few toddlers out there that can't believe you killed her.
I can't believe they killed her.
See what I mean?
Anyways, everybody with an IQ above 18, aka the combined IQ of Miles and Carrie's, knows that in no way did they just kill off one of the main characters of the show, whose name contributes to the show's name, and are already calling this out as another dumb attempt to make us think that a protagonist just died, even though we're barely halfway through the series.
They can't have killed her. What about the White Rose?
However, this may not be as bad as you think. Sure, it's just another writer's crutch to raise the stakes without really doing much of the work themselves. But you have to think about this in the story's sense, and whether or not it really influences the story or characters. And saying that this is inconsequential is like saying that Yang getting her arm cut off didn't really matter since she could just get it replaced. It's important because of what it does to the character. Now, if they don't at least show us some growth, either through Weiss or some of the other characters, kinda like how they did with Yang, sort of, then that will be a different story. And even if they do go down the Yang route again, it will at least be some emotional trauma that we'll see our character go through. And again, in the defense of some people wondering how this could have happened when they're supposed to have this aura protecting them, well, remember this isn't a video game that's designed for health regenerating babies. Aura is just the shield that blocks some attacks and reduces others. But at the end of the day, for the most part, it just acts as a barrier, being an additional line of defense besides any armor that they may, or in this case, may not be wearing. So a spear going through someone, especially someone whose aura has already been weakened due to a fight, is not out of the ordinary, and yes, some could die from a strong enough blow even though their aura may still be active.
However, for now, we'll just have to wait to see how it turns out.
Oh my god. They did kill her. No. That can't be! Ricardo, you've got hands. Clap 'em. If it worked for that winged hooker, then it may work for my waifu.
She's not gonna die, dude. But one thing that is sort of dead, at least in spirit, are the action scenes.
Not only is this volume the one with the least amount of action on screen, but so far it's arguably had the worst action. Insert my usual complaints about the cinematography, choreography, speed, pacing, humor, and so on and so forth that are no longer even remotely on the same level as one guy! But there are other issues in this fight in general. The first problem comes in the form of the characters, in the fact that there are just too many for them to handle. Now, having too many characters fighting in a single fight is not an issue in itself, as we've seen large-scale battles before that depict such a thing. Even in this show, we've seen it happening. However, the key that made them enjoyable to watch was the fact that they were in a wide open place where the camera could get some distance for sweeping shots and shifting character focus. Here, the area is not only too cramped, but the camera doesn't use it to its advantage by giving us a claustrophobic feeling. We instead have to deal with a second issue brought up because of the change in recording style. Jump cuts, which again is not a problem if done correctly. Jump cuts used sparingly and at the right moment can make a moment feel doubly impactful. However, just using them to make the whole fight feel that way just leaves us feeling like we're watching a fireworks display. Hell, even a fireworks display usually has more color variety and structure than the fight we had.
However, one thing that some thought was bad, that really isn't, is RWBY getting bonked on the head.
Another scene to add to the notion that RWBY is a pathetic character. But cutting off the cliche of a character in emotional duress suddenly activating their unknown powers was probably the best way to go. Firstly, we already had this happen, and we didn't need to go down that route again and stale up its uniqueness. But also, simply ending much of the fight by having her go all
Tactical nuke incoming!
would have been another downer to the already disappointing combat. However, the most important issue that was addressed here was that it makes RWBY feel underwhelming. She's still just a kid with powers that she doesn't understand and doesn't know how to use. This simply helps with the notion that some were asking that if RWBY would get a mentor. We already know that there were and may still be other silver-eyed warriors, so who knows? But I will admit that one way or another this sort of was a lose-lose situation, as it didn't make the fight much better either.
And trying to spice things up with characters talking isn't the way to go, as it just takes whatever excitement there is and brings it to a screeching halt.
Hey Google, what to do if waifu has been impaled? Not that kind of impaled. I know what to do then. You get the lube and the camera out.
Now again, it's not a complaint. It's how what I'm complaining about wasn't used properly. So yeah, basically a complaint.
In the previous episode, having Blake and Ilya constantly speak to each other worked because it was a battle of the hearts as well as the bronze.
Don't be dead, don't be dead, don't be dead, don't be dead, don't be dead. Give in to your feelings, Blake. You know you want it. Don't be dead, don't be dead, don't be dead, don't be dead.
However, this is not really an emotional situation. Mainly because Jean is so pathetic, it physically hurts.
Stop messing with me!
See what I mean? And having Cinder backtalk Jean works with her sadistic nature only for a moment. But even when she fought Pyrrha, they only spoke when the fight was won. Now, you can have some banter here and there, but it's better to sparingly sprinkle it in the action so the characters can keep moving. That way the audience can watch and listen at the same time.
Now, this complaint is going to sound weird coming from me and what I just said, but since others are already pointing it out, I can't really avoid asking, where is Adam? Why isn't he joining the fight?
Don't be dead. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Serious question. I know I just said there was already too many characters.
So stop before you make a bigger fool of yourself.
But at least he should be helping taking care of the good guys.
No, now shut up.
Instead of needlessly assisting the White Fang with something that anybody else could be doing.
You're not shutting up.
Because at least it would have evened out the fighters.
Shut up.
And it might have added some spice with Yang being there.
Shut up.
So why isn't he fighting?
Because we don't want him near any more of my waifus. Isn't losing Weiss enough?
Sorry, I know I said I didn't like his voice and his personality was like a rusty blade pretending to be edgy, but I had to address it.
Alright, you addressed it. You done?
With Adam, not likely, because I have a feeling he's going to be a bigger problem later. But for now, I'll move on.
Thank you. Now back to worrying about my wifey waifu.
Now, one moment that I'm glad Rooster Teeth stepped over was the whole
surprise, motherfucker!
sort of. At After watching Crow and Ozpin pretty much spell out that they knew Leo was up to no good and that Raven had the Spring Maiden, it is a little confusing to see them act all shocked when they find out. It could be that they weren't 100% sure about it all, but luckily it's only for a moment.
Otherwise, I'm sure you'd be dragging this review out even longer. Chapter 14, How to Resurrect Your Waifu.
Because a moment like this, where we're treated to the reveal of a betrayal or surprised alliance, are normally used to try and psych out the viewer in some lame attempt for a twist that normally doesn't end well with the audience. Am I right? Instead, here we get to see and feel the reaction of the characters. For while the two had their suspicions, it still comes across as a depressing realization to know that their fears were right. And it recalls back to when Crow was looking for the huntsman and when Tai spoke of Raven. In each case, we not only feel the sadness of knowing how it all turns out, but of the question in earnest of how it could have all come to this. Well, we're told the answer. Fear. Leo's leading him to betray those he fought alongside with just to save his own skin, even going so far to sell out those that might have helped him stand a chance against Salem. It is interesting that his story is of what happens when fear consumes you.
Thank you, Foreshadowing Ghost. Maybe I should rename you to the Spoiling Spectre.
But anyways, Raven too is afraid. So Leo was almost right in thinking that they weren't too different. But whereas the cowardly headmaster was overcome by his fear, it seems that Raven's fear is what drives her to survive. And hers seems to be slightly different from the lion's. Again, what does she know? Bringing up that Crow should have figured it out by now as well, but hasn't. We know from Tai and Crow that there must have been some better times where she was a good person, where there was some good in her. But something came along that drove it all out, leaving only this desperation to survive. It's also interesting that she, out of every other adult so far, is the first to truly speak of Ruby's mother. And while it's the usual spite towards the naive, there seems to be something heavier behind those words. But again, what could it be? I now see why Yang was so upset with Ozpin keeping secrets, as her own mother has quite a few herself. Well, it looks like we're going to have to wait before we get answers to them. Let's just hope that Rooster Teeth is able to handle it all properly. Cause while this episode wasn't bad, it also left many a little worried on how the season would end. So far, they've been building up to Volume 5's finale very well, with multiple things at stake, emotional conflicts between the characters, compromises that start to lead to destruction, and all the fans' intense anticipation on what's going to happen next. Honestly, it's like the general feel for RWBY as a show, while Rooster Teeth was going through their, growing pains.
Either way, you can bet that so long as they keep making episodes, I'll keep reviewing them.
Cause nothing short of death will stop you.
Exactly!
Note to self.
Anyways guys, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, just give it a click. Also hit the red button and the bell for future videos. Don't forget to leave a comment telling me what you thought. I'm Ricardo, the Cynical Critic. With me, no movie's sacred, no video's safe, but all deserve a chance. I'll catch you guys next time. Toodles!
Oh, look at that. I've been impaled.